11 amazing abandoned airplanes. But first, we're glad our Lithuanian subscribers enjoyed watching our 12 strange places in Lithuania video. We hope you enjoy discovering some of the remains of the abandoned airplanes. Let us know which place you think is the creepiest, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 11. Marshall Islands Underwater Plane. An underwater plane graveyard was finally exposed in 2015, showing more than 150 lost World War II aircraft. With new advancements in technology, finding aircraft that we previously thought vanished in the Pacific are beginning to come to light. Once it's been determined with sonar, scuba divers are more than eager to investigate for themselves. Number 10. Thailand Airplane Graveyard. Planes are used on a daily basis, and we've had them as a way of transportation for the past century now. With advancements in technology and from overuse, planes that were once miles in the sky now rot away or are scrapped for parts. Here we see what's left of an airplane in Thailand that's been scrapped for electrical wires and relentlessly graffitied by gangs in the area. An investor wanted to see if he could somehow turn the fuselage of the plane into some type of seating for an amphitheater, but the design never really seemed to work out. Number 9. Abandoned Yugoslavian Airbase. This abandoned airplane is found at the Zeljava Underground Airbase, located on the border of Croatia and Bosnia. It's believed that it was abandoned in the Serbo-Croatian War in 1992, leaving the planes as well. After the fall of communism, it was unsure who was going to control the region, and war broke out in the Baltic states. This is where you'll find dozens of MiG fighter jets and creepy-looking tunnels that stored food and supplies in case of an apocalyptic scenario. Parts of the airbase and aircraft were destroyed in a NATO bombing in 1999 that forced workers here to abandon the base. If you decide to do a little urban exploring for yourself, just keep an eye out for landmines in the area. Number 8. Mojave Airport. This abandoned airport in the middle of the Mojave Desert houses many reusable spacecraft and other aircraft that no longer are in use. Located in the middle of the desert, this seems like the perfect place to store random things. Due to the vast and dry conditions of the airport, it seems to keep the airplanes well preserved if the parts are to be reused. Some of the planes get scrapped for metal and parts, while others are just waiting for a new airport to call home. This retired Boeing 767 once flew for Ansett, Australia, but is now out of service and being searched for useful parts. Number 7. Eerie Abandoned Hangar. Imagine exploring the countryside nearby your home and coming across an abandoned hangar with an airplane still inside. This was discovered in the Belgian countryside, and there were several rusting planes left inside. An urban explorer by the name of Laurent Bernier was able to snatch photos of these mysterious machines. Dust is beginning to take over, as you can tell from this photo, and we're sure Laurent sneezed a few times while getting into the cockpit. Not only planes were found here, but also dozens of parts that could have been useful for repair. It's believed that this hangar was once used, or abandoned we should say, by the French army in the 1930s. The photographer spent several hours examining the planes and was paranoid that someone would find him here. Number 6. Abandoned Navy Air Station. This next one comes from the state of Florida in the city of Green Cove Springs, which was a place where the Navy would train pilots in the 1930s. This facility consisted of runways, various aircraft, and housing for military personnel. Here in this photo, we see an aircraft known as a Beechcraft Queen Air Model 80, which is used as a private aircraft and not really on the battlefield. Here in this photo, we see the logo still intact and attached to the plane. Some of the parts you can tell have been gutted, but a few original gauges are still left. The Navy facility downgraded after the Korean War and was eventually abandoned after being decommissioned by Lyndon B. Johnson. Number 5. RAF Kittyhawk. A mysterious World War II aircraft was found in the middle of the Sahara Desert in the country of Egypt in 2012. It was found nearly intact, and the dry conditions of the Sahara allowed it to be well preserved. This is believed to be the P40 Kittyhawk fighter plane, which is a single-seat fighter plane used by the Americans from 1939 to 1945. It's often featured with some type of artwork such as a shark's mouth, but it's believed that this one here was used by the British and was acquired from the US. The British would like to see it return to their home soil in order for it to be displayed at a museum. However, Egypt claims that this doesn't belong to them since it was never found on British soil. Plus, the British have a ton of Egyptian artifacts on display at their British Museum, so we don't see this one going their way. Number 4. Douglas Super DC-3. On the mysterious black sands of a beach in Iceland lies a piece of an abandoned aircraft. On November 24, 1973, a U.S. Navy aircraft was forced to crash land on a remote beach south of the capital of Reykjavik. It appears as though it remained untouched for 40 years until a farmer came across it in 2014. All the windows are smashed from the inside and both wings are missing. All the crew survived the crash, and it seems to be a mystery why it was forced to crash land in the first place. Some believe it was from horrific weather conditions in the North Atlantic. But this took place during the Cold War, so is it possible it was shot down by the Soviets somehow? Others claim it just simply ran out of fuel, forcing them to land on Iceland. What you see here are some drone images of the plane from an aerial view, and it's kinda hard to tell if it's a plane or not. Number 3. Mexican drug plane. Imagine you were on vacation in Mexico and you stumbled upon an abandoned plane that had a white powdery cargo. There's many rumors about this photo of a plane that has sunken halfway into the sand, and it's hard to say exactly which story is true. However, some claim that it was discovered by tourists near Mexico and that the plane was struck by lightning or even shot down by the Mexican government, causing something to malfunction. No bodies or survivors were ever found, and they fled the scene so they wouldn't get caught with a large quantity of contraband. What are your thoughts on this one? Whatever story may be true, it is certainly a beautiful photo. Number 2. Soviet VV-A-14. This abandoned prototype of a Soviet vertical takeoff amphibious vehicle has left many people rather intrigued by the strange design. It was a promising design at first that would allow it to take off from the water, cruise at high altitudes, and destroy US submarines. The aircraft sits at a Russian Federation Central Air Force Museum in rusty conditions to say the least. In 1974, it did manage to log in 107 flights with 103 hours in the air. We see 2 pilots aboard the aircraft getting ready to take off in this beast of engineering. However, it appeared as though the Soviets were asking for a little bit too much out of this aircraft, and the engines needed a serious upgrade before it could be ready for battle. Once the designer passed away in 1974, the project began to slow down and the upgrades were never made. And number 1, the Boneyard. If you're a fan of abandoned aircraft or just aircraft in general, you should take a trip to the Boneyard. It'll almost be like you died and went to heaven. There are thousands of abandoned planes used by the Air Force. They also take advantage of the dry conditions of the American Southwest in the city of Tucson, Arizona, in order to keep planes from severely rusting. This is officially named the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, where America stores excess aircraft just in case World War III breaks out. This has also been a holding ground for aerospace vehicles as well, and there's an estimated 4,000 aircraft waiting to either be scrapped, here for storage, or to be reused. This is situated on 2,600 acres of Arizona desert, and it's quite the interesting place to explore on Google Maps. Anything from fighters from World War II to heavy bombers used in Vietnam, all these can be found here. Some believe that there's at least one of every plane that the US has ever commissioned, and they can be found riding away here. Except probably for the secret ones they don't want us to know about. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for new videos every day.